And just start by bending your knees. And I have my feet wide and I'm angling my knees in. And placing the hands on the belly. Inhale, expand the belly into the hands. And exhale, draw it in. And just keep this going your own time. You can make that ha breath if you like, with constricting the throat. You can do this with an open mouth. If you can constrict the throat, both on inhale and exhale, that's the full Ujjayi Pranayama, the throat breath. Starting to count the breath to yourself. Inhale 4 to 10 seconds, pause, exhale the same. And if you like adding some bee breath, this is an audible hum. It helps you lengthen the breath even more. Just in your own timing. And let this go. If you like, place one hand on your heart, the other on your belly, or you could place both hands anywhere you like. It feels like your center this evening. And just maybe make an intention, a sankalpa, to do with grounding, relaxation. And when you're ready, stretching out your legs. If you've got a wall to put your feet on, you could have that ready. Otherwise, just stretching your legs out. Just notice how that feels in your lower back. If it's not comfortable, you can put a pillow underneath your thighs and I'm going to actually do that for the next exercise, make it a little harder. And to make it harder still, we've done this quite a bit, is taking your belt, if you have one, you could also use a TerraBand, and just making the belt about a little less than hip width apart. And you're going to stretch your feet long, your legs long rather, and the pillow under your thighs or under your knees. If you have knee injuries, for those of you with knee surgery, for example, have that pillow under the knees, and you might want to be doing this in your bed. And I've got the belt in the middle of my feet. You could have it higher or lower. And I'm taking my heels and I'm pressing out. And as you do that, you might be actually feeling your hips engage as well. So it's quite a bit of work. And then just try pointing your toes away from your nose and then flexing your toes towards your nose. And then we're going to coordinate that with the breath. Inhale, pointing. Now I've got the calves off the ground the whole time. That's fairly challenging. Exhale, flexing. If you want to make it easier, you can keep your heels on the ground the whole time, or remove the pillow and have your legs on the ground. Okay, we're going to add some arms. This is comfortable. You're going to inhale, bring your arms overhead to the floor behind you. You might need a pillow, cushion, bolster underneath you if you've got shoulder injuries. And exhale, bringing your hands down by your hips. Pausing between inhale and exhale. Inhale, chest to belly. Tucking the chin in at the top of the inhale. Exhale, belly to chest. On that exhale, really pulling up on the kneecaps. If you can, tucking that chin in on the inhale. And exhale, release the chin. And if this is too much, take a break at any time. If you're rehabbing your legs, your knees, your ankles, this is quite a bit of work. I keep pressing my heels out to the side on the exhale. And if you do that, you will get into your hips as well. Trying to stay mindful, present as you're moving, keeping in your body, feeling your body, and release, take a break, remove that belt. Just take a little break, just rest for a moment. Let your breath go back to neutral. Okay, so remove that pillow if you were using it. Now, the next one is legs and also getting into the sides of the hips. So bring your arms to the side, palms facing up or down, your choice, depending on your shoulders, any height that's comfortable for you. I've got my knees facing up to the sky. And as I inhale, I'm going to bring one leg to the side. And the trick is not to let your foot turn out, but keep your foot parallel and exhale back to the center. So you're keeping your knee facing up to the sky the whole time, and don't let your foot turn out because that's a release valve. And if you have one hip that's weaker than the other, you might find that you feel it most in the outsides of the hips. So this is legs, feet, and hips. You can add on a little flossing of the legs. Inhale, pointing the toes, and exhale, flexing both feet. Closing the eyes, if that's comfortable for you, that's a choice. You can also put an eye pillow on or an eye mask. You can darken your room if you prefer and just listen to my voice and look at my video. Those are all options. Make yourself comfortable. This is your class. Inhale, coming to the side. Now, if you can, start to exhale before you start to move. And if you can, on the exhale, I want you to engage from the pelvic floor up towards the belly button. And this is called Mula Bandha, the root lock. Mula is all about grounding. And that's energetically, from a yoga perspective, physically. We know that having a strong core right from the pelvic floor helps with all sorts of things. You can have sore knees from having a weak core. I remember learning that many years ago when I worked in a physiotherapy clinic, and I was like, really? Wow, that's fascinating. So the core is important for our stability and for grounding, for feeling connected, safe. In our body. Now, if you're doing this and your lower back is hurting, you can modify by having one leg bent and just opening one side at a time for a few repetitions and then switching sides. So feel free to modify that if you're not feeling stable with doing this with both legs straight. Let's keep this going a few more rounds. Yoga therapy, we usually start with our easier side and then move to our harder side to activate the work first on the easy side, and that warms up the harder side, opens up the channels, the neurological channels. And just finishing up. And just notice where you are feeling this. Again, it might be in your hip rather than anywhere else in your legs. Bend your knees for a minute as a counter, feet wide. You can angle the knees in if you like or keep them wide. You can place your hands on your belly if you like as a resource of relaxation. Inhale, expand that belly. Exhale, draw the belly in towards the spine. And as you exhale, consider adding 1 second to each exhale. Counting your exhale And when you get to about 80% of your comfort, don't go beyond that place, because then it will activate your sympathetic nervous system if you force the breath. We don't want that. We want the relaxation response, parasympathetic. Okay. So moving on to the next exercise, starting with the legs straight, feet parallel if you can. We're going to do one leg at a time. And you can add the arms if you like. Again, behind you, you might need a bolster or a stack of pillows to place your hands on for comfort of the shoulders. So feel free to modify with that, or you can just place your arms anywhere that's comfortable for you. So starting with your arms overhead, if that's accessible for you, making your body nice and straight. This is a pose called Tadaka Mudra, and it's, if you've done mountain pose standing, this is like a supine version of that. And when you're ready, you're going to exhale. You're going to bring one leg up as you drag your heel. You might need to move half of your mat away to do this, or remove it all together. And drag your heel and bring the same or opposite arm down by the hip. And inhale, extend. This is for tracking of the knees. And we're going to add on soon to make this harder. So we're just starting nice and easy. This is step one side at a time. Just see how one side might feel very different than the other side. And on that inhale, really stretching the spine, creating some traction, lengthening the spine, and then exhale, drawing towards the center, using that mula bandha, the root, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, and having that mula bandha draw your leg in. Inhale, expanding from the chest to the belly. Exhale, contracting from the belly to the chest, starting with the pelvic floor, moving up. This also can feel really good on the lower back, going from quite a back arch to more flexion, extension to flexion. Now, if this is feeling really easy, you can try using both legs. Exhale, start to exhale. Now try to draw the legs in using the exhale. So this one is going to work your core. Pausing between inhale and exhale. And you should feel like your core is drawing your legs in, like bringing a fish in from a line, winding it up, and drawing it in, like your feet nice and heavy, your legs heavy, and you're drawing it in towards your center. Now, if this is feeling easy, the next step, you can do it both legs or one leg at a time. So you could do it just from this position, and you could do the one leg. We're going to do the legs up, or you can draw your knees in towards the chest on that exhale, and then inhale, legs up to the sky, arms overhead, flexing toes towards the nose. Exhaling, pointing my toes, I'm touching the ground. Further away from your core you do this, the harder it is. I'm trying to keep my lower back fairly neutral, so no big curve of the lower back. And then inhale, I'm extending my legs out. So we're putting together 3 poses now. Tadaka Mudra is this extension, inhale, exhale, drawing in towards the center, towards Apanasana. Apana Vayu, the downward flow of energy. This pose works on grounding. Inhale, extending the legs up, arms to the floor behind you. Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. And exhale, bringing the toes down, the hands down by your hips, neutral spine, drawing the lower back to the floor. Inhale, extending out. Do this in your own time, either one leg at a time or both legs, so be careful. Do this at your own pace. This is quite a bit of core work. We're also working on tracking at the knees and stretching the hamstrings. So if your legs are tighter, for example, you might find it substantially easier to just do something like this instead. I'm just doing this a little fast so you can get the idea. And then you would switch sides. Okay, so just find your medicine, both legs or one leg at a time. You can also do the one leg version with the other leg straight, but that is harder still flexibility wise when you come up. And just finishing up your version of the pose. And if possible, bringing your legs to the sky. And if you've been sitting at a desk all day or walking all day or on your feet all day, you might notice that your legs are a little bit swollen from that. So having this semi-inversion can be very helpful. You can also bring your hands to the sky, working on the lymphatic system, drainage of the lymph, the venous blood. These 2 systems you need to invert or move to get them to work. So this is working on circulation. Also relaxation, inversions. Put us into relaxation response just by the position of the body. And when you're ready, bring your feet down, bend your knees, angle your knees in if you like, hands on the belly. Inhale, expand the belly. Exhale, contract. And when you're ready, we're going to move to some bridge poses, which strengthen the legs as well as the lower back. So take your pillow or your block and put it between your thighs as an option. This helps us hug into the center, again, activating the core and the inner thigh muscles, which apparently as we age tend to get weak, so always good to work on those. And I'm going to first do this for grounding energetically and mobility of the lower back. So as you exhale, I'd like you to contract your pelvic floor, your lower belly, your belly button in, and then squeeze your pillow. And you might find that your tailbone is tucking under as your pelvis rotates back. And then inhale, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to inhale, expand from the chest to the belly. And now the lower back is going to have a bit of an arch in it as the pelvis rotates forward. As you exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, and tailbone tucked. You might be lifting off the ground a little bit. And inhale, tilting the other way, expanding the chest, the belly, arching the back. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls, squeeze the pillow, hold, 1, 2, 3. Inhale, tilting the hips the other way, lower back coming off the floor. Again, exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, squeeze, hold, 1, 2, 3, inhale. Releasing the back the other way. Now we're going to lift the hips off the ground. As you exhale, we're going to lift just the hips up, so we're isolating the lower back. And as you inhale, you're going to roll down and tilt the hips the opposite way to create that arch in the back. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, lifting the hips off a little bit and squeeze that pillow, hold, and inhale, roll down. If it hurts your back to tilt one way or the other, you can lessen that tilt. Exhale, coming up, holding after exhale, and inhale, coming down. Doing this your own timing. Mobilizing the lower back and grounding through the legs and feet at the top of the exhale, squeezing into the center line. And feel all the way down to the feet. And rest. Okay, we're going to remove that pillow for a minute, and we're going to take our belt and put it on our ankles. If this is comfortable, this is quite a bit of work for the ankles and the feet. So if you have pain in your feet, cramping, anything like that, you might not want to add this belt, okay, or injury. Just see how it goes for you. This is definitely a strength pose. So we're going to do the regular breathing we do with bridge. Inhale, coming up, exhale down. So now we're going to breathe into the chest as well, not just the lower back. So you're going to inhale, you're going to come up, and I'm going to follow the breath from the belly to the chest as I come up. And notice if one side likes to come out a bit. So if that's the case, you can also add a pillow or a block to help you keep more aligned. Okay, so that can be helpful. And then we're going to stay up here if it's comfortable. We're going to stay up here and perhaps come up onto the toes as we inhale, and exhale, coming on the heels. So I'm trying to keep my buttocks off the ground. You can also interlock your hands underneath if you like. Inhale, coming up on the toes. Exhale, heels down. Just beware, you might get a leg cramp. Occasionally I get one. Hopefully I won't today. Exhale down. Feel free to remove that pillow if it feels better for you. Inhale, up, coming up onto the toes, and exhale, heel down. Yeah, so for me, I was starting to get a cramp by adding that pillow. It was just too much for my legs today, so just modify for you. And this is very strengthening for the ankles. And strengthening the ankles can actually help with the hips as well. So a lot of our alignment starts with the feet. In yoga, ultimately, we're interested in an energetic alignment. But the body is the foundation. We can go through the body into the breath, into the mind via concentration, and then beyond the body, breath, and mind. To whatever you want to call that nameless, changeless place. And when you're ready, coming down. And you're probably also feeling that in the lower back. It's very strengthening. Remove that belt. Just put it off to the side. We're going to stretch the legs soon with it. And just take a break. Feet wide, angle the knees in, or keep your knees over the ankles, whatever feels better for you. And we're going to stretch the legs after that. So we're just going to start easy. Exhale, drawing the knees into the chest. Inhale, bring the legs to the sky. Arms to the floor behind you if you can. Exhale, knees to the chest. So from Apanasana to Urdhva Prasrita Tadasana. If you want to make this harder, you can add a little strength work by, on the exhale, bring your toes to the ground and then draw your knees in with the hands by your hips. So that's a slightly harder variation. If you want to make this easier, try sliding your legs up a wall and just show that. In case your hamstrings are tight, it's going to be really uncomfortable. So a lot of my guys, they have to do this because their hamstrings are tight. They need to use a wall to draw the legs in and out from. You might get some marks on your wall, but you can clean them off. So that can help. You can also do one leg at a time, if that feels better. And you can do one leg at a time also with the other foot on the ground. So that's even easier. Inhale up and exhale into your chest and down, or just straight down. So just figure out which version you're going to do this evening according to what's going on for your body. So with yoga therapy, we're looking at function over form. So we have these classical poses, but we're modifying them for individual needs. And since you're all in different places during this Zoom class, you're going to have to do a little bit of self-assessment to determine that. And even in group classes, it's really important that you're doing most of that work yourself through your awareness. And the teacher's just facilitating that through her feedback. And just finishing up, bringing your feet wide, angle the knees in, and rest. That might have felt really nice on your lower back, as well as on your legs, tracking of the knees. And just rest the breath. We like touching the hands on the belly. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. You want to use Sanskrit. Inhale, Om. Exhale, Namo. Perhaps the natural inner smile starts to arise as you relax into yourself. My teacher Radha Sridhar often says, be with yourself. I really like that phrase. Be with yourself, your true self, your deeper self, whatever that means to you. And if you prefer, you can stretch the legs for a minute. Just give them a break. You could put your feet at a wall and align your legs, your hips, your back. Let go. Is there something you'd like to let go of? You can say that to yourself. I'm letting go of fill in the blank. I think on this human experience journey that we're all on, there's usually some sort of obstacle that perhaps is teaching us. And when we're ripe and ready, it drops like a fruit off a tree naturally. Maybe you can be a good gardener and just encourage it to drop away a little faster. I'm letting go of fill in the blank, and just know that if it doesn't let go right away, maybe it's still doing some work on you in your life, teaching you something. And you feel complete. Moving to our next series of asanas or postures, shapes that help us connect body, breath, and mind together in a unified way. Grabbing your belt, or it could be a scarf. In India, my teachers use what are called dupatas, these scarves that the women wear. They'll be doing yoga postures with those. So these special props we have in the West are nice, but they're not necessary. So any home prop is good, and just know that there's a long tradition supporting that. So we're just going to do some leg stretches in a slightly deeper way. We've warmed up the body quite a bit now, hopefully, you think. And starting with your easier side, or if you don't know what that is, just start with your left side, which is traditional in yoga, to start with the left and move to the right, at least in the Ujjayi tradition. And you can start with the other leg bent. That can be a lot easier. That other leg could also be up on a sofa, a stool, a bed for more support of the lower back. If you feel very comfortable here, feel free to stretch that lower leg out. That's substantially harder. And you could put that lower foot at the wall as if you're doing this standing. So those are your options. So middle ground is foot on the ground with the knee bent. Easier still is with that other leg on a chair or a bed or a couch. Really nice way to do it. Hardest version is with that lower leg straight. So just find your position. I've got the belt on the ball of my foot. And I like to hold my belt. I like to loop it, to belt it if you have a yoga belt, and put my hands through so my palms are facing the ceiling, and then hold my belt. But there are many ways to hold a belt. You can wrap the ends around your hands. Don't over grip the belt, and please keep your shoulders down. Now, in my in-person classes, a lot of you have taken those. You know that I'm very fussy about necks. So if your chin is sticking up to the ceiling, you might want to put a blanket under your head or a pillow so that your chin is in line with your heart approximately. A nice neutral neck, just a little curve behind it. So do look after your neck and shoulders as you do this, and keep your shoulders down by bending the elbows. So make the belt long enough so you can do that. Okay, we're going to move a little bit. So as you exhale, you're going to bend that knee towards the chest, and you might feel this in the opposite hip if you got that leg stretched. And inhale, extend the leg up, and if you like, you can point the toes as well to work with the foot a bit more. So exhale, flexing the toes towards the nose, nice straight leg, and then bending the knee. And this is like a supine runner's lunge. And keep this going in your own timing. Again, you can do this with that lower leg bent. That's much easier, or have it elevated on a chair. You can have, with the belt, it's allowing you to have the leg further away from you too. So if your hamstrings are tighter, feel free to have the foot and the leg at an angle further away from you so that you can actually straighten the leg. It's working on tracking of the knee, working on stretching the foot. So the plantar fascia, bottom foot, the calf, the hamstrings, and perhaps the opposite hip that's on the ground. You're also stretching the front of the foot as you point it. So you might find that that's where your tightness is. You can keep this going, or if you like, just staying in the stretch with your toes towards your nose. And then if you want to add a little movement here, as you inhale, you can point the toes, keeping the leg straight, and exhale, bring the toes towards you, the leg is straight, and just coming to your place. And you might be feeling the calf, the hamstrings as you do that. So stretching the hamstrings can also really help with lower back pain. So if you have lower back pain, this might also feel really good. Just try not to grip too much with those hands. It's easy to do that. One of my trainees, my yoga therapist trainees from Los Angeles, she actually showed me this, which I'm just remembering. Thank you, Curie. The palms together as a way of not gripping. So you can play with that. Just remembering her teaching me that a couple of summers ago. Always lots of things to learn from each other. And if you like, just staying in the stretch. So if you've got that buckle, just get it away from your wrists if you're doing that. And ideally, I've got a watch on, but ideally no watches on and rings for certain things we do in yoga as well. Just see if you can stay in that full stretch. Notice if you're feeling it in the calf, the hamstrings. Try to keep the hip on the ground. And try to keep the shoulders down. Just going a little deeper into the connective tissue by staying in the pose. The breath might become very subtle, moving towards breath awareness. That's completely fine. The Yoga Sutras talks about that as the fourth stage of pranayama, when you and the breath become one, and it's as if you're not breathing. So feel free to go to that place with your breath. So switching sides, again, you can hold the belt in numerous ways, and you might want to switch it up at some point. That lower leg can be bent, it can be on a chair, or it can be extended out. I like to put mine at a wall so I can really press into it and keep aligned. And we're just starting with that supine runner's lunge. As you exhale, bending the knee towards the chest. And inhale, straightening, and I'm going to point my toes as I straighten. You don't have to, but that's an add-on to add a stretch of the foot. My students often report after this class sleeping very well. I'd encourage you to not look at screens. Try to keep lights dim, which is nature's way of gradually putting us to sleep. Electric lights are really wonderful, especially in a northern climate. We lose the light quite early in the winter and even the fall. But at some point, we want to start moving towards sleep through starting to dim lights. Consider avoiding the blue light of screens. you have trouble sleeping. Doing relaxing activities like this. Got lots of these videos online. You could do one a night. There's tons of them now. I'm just going to keep building that library for you so you do home practices if you find it hard to practice by yourself. And then staying in the pose with your legs stretched. And then moving a little bit, inhale, point the toes, and exhale, flex the toes and drawing the leg towards you. Just that slight movement. Moving deeper into the stretch. So notice where you feel that. I tend to be very tight in the front of my foot rather than the bottom. Just notice that for yourself, where those tight spots are. Sometimes it depends on what activities you've been doing, less a little bit. And if you can, keep that knee straight so that you're stretching through the whole leg. Otherwise, you won't probably get to the hamstrings. So stretching through the foot, the calf, and then into the 3 hamstrings behind the thigh. And when we move into our hips next week, we'll start doing leg stretches, also opening the hips. And you'll probably experience the 3 hamstrings a bit more as separate from each other. And then staying in the stretch, if that's comfortable, I'm going to move to that namaste position. Your choice, just so I can relax the gripping of my hands. And again, you could have your foot at a wall. You could be pressing your heel into the wall as you inhale, exhale, release. So if you're finding this difficult for your hamstring, feel free to put your foot at a wall and press into it. You'll have to have your other leg bent to do that, of course. And then go into the breath. Inhale, expanding the chest and the belly. Exhale, contracting the belly. The chest falls. Or if you like, try to inhale into the upper back and the lower back and the belly, down the back body. Exhale up the front body, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. And then gradually, maybe you'll let go of the conscious lengthening of the breath. And just experience the breath as a meditation. The Buddhists call it shamatha meditation, focusing just on the inhale and the exhale, moving in and out of you without changing it with the mind. And when you're ready, release. And bring both feet into that belt. You Again, you could do this with your heels at the wall. If your hamstrings are tighter, I encourage you to do that. And inhale, pointing the toes away from the nose. Exhale, flexing the toes towards you. You might be able to bring your feet a little bit towards your face. Try to keep the pelvis on the ground as you do that. If it comes off, it's fine, but you'll stretch the legs more if you keep the hips on the ground as you do this. Otherwise, it's fine. You'll just stretch your lower back. You can make this easier by putting a pillow underneath your pelvis, and that gives your hamstrings a little more length, and it brings the lower back off the ground, which again is easier. So if you're not able to get much happening here, this might be a better option. And now you can see I am bringing my lower back off the ground when I come forward. So it's just a different stretch. It's stretching the lower back a bit more than the legs if you do this version. And that might feel good. So make your choice. This is your practice. Even more so with these Zoom classes. This is very much your home practice. I'm just guiding you from the ether of Garden Bay. So appreciative that you join me in real time so that we can co-create this experience. So just see which one you prefer. And then at some point, we're just going to stay in that position and stretch the legs, both legs. And I'm going to do that namaste position. You can always make your belt a little bit longer. I'm going to try that so that you can bring your hands more to your heart. Just find that optimal place for you. And this is a semi-inversion. Again, you can have that pillow under the pelvis to help you do this. You could even do this with a bolster under the pelvis. So try to just at some point move into a rest. You can continue to lengthen the breath or just observe the natural rise and fall of the breath. Inhale, feeling the breath move into the nostrils, down into the belly, and exhale up from the belly, through the chest, and out through the nostrils. Inhaling prana energy into the lungs. Very important, especially at this time of COVID, to keep that prana moving into the lungs. For those of you with asthma, this can be a great resource, just really working on breathing deeply, either focusing on exhale or inhale. And if you can't do that because of a breathing issue, you move the body, move the rib cage, move the upper back, neck and shoulders. And this will help your breathing over time. So again, we never want to force the breath. And when you're ready, We're going to move into our relaxation. You can just stretch your legs long and rest that way, or if you have a wall available or your legs up on a chair or a couch, I'm going to suggest a semi-inversion to continue with our focus of legs and feet. So I like to put my belt on my ankles. You can also put it on your thighs. And in Iyengar yoga, you often have belts all over the place on your ankles and your thighs. So those are some options for you. When you put your legs up the wall, bring one hip towards the wall. You're sitting sideways, and then flip yourself up. So again, this is an option. You don't have to do this. And if you have a sandbag, which I don't think many of us have sandbags kicking around as props, or a bag of rice can be very helpful, or a bag of heavy beans. You can put that on the soles of your feet. If you want to try that another time. This is a pose you can do all by itself any time of the day as a rest. A wonderful thing to do halfway in your day, just to allow for circulation. You can put a pillow under your buttocks to increase the inversion effect, or even a bolster, just resting now. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Feeling the rise and fall of the breath. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Inhale, Om. Exhale, Namo. Your feet are tingling at any time. Do bend the knees or come out of the pose. When you're ready, starting to increase the length of your breath. Starting to move hands, feet, your legs towards your chest. Got a belt on your ankles or thighs, just loosening that. Can, removing it. If you're at the wall, you could move away from the wall a little bit and just stretch your lower back by pressing your heels into the wall. Otherwise, hug your knees into your chest. Got knee issues underneath the knees, holding. Turning to one side that's comfortable, side child. And coming up to a comfortable seated position. Or if you're not comfortable seated, feel free to keep lying down. We're going to do a little bit of pranayama breathing. You can also do this in a chair, seated in a chair. So be comfortable. The only prerequisite for yoga is having your back straight, so whatever feels better. Cross-legged or like this, my hips prefer to be in Vajrasana diamonds, so I'm demoing that, and I've got a pillow on top of my heels. Some of my students like to have a bolster that they sit on as well, or quite a big pillow. So find a comfortable seated position or keep lying down, and you can just do Ujjayi nostril breathing rather than the special breathing that I'm going to show you. So this is for relaxing, and we're going to try to do a pranayama most evenings. This is one of the important 8 limbs of yoga. So first of all, taking your hands, and you can create a beak-like position with your hands, or you can do the classical Maggie Mudra, which is like this. This is quite challenging, or word up is a modification. Okay, so this is much easier, just these beaks. And you're going to inhale, Ujjayi, constricting the throat. And I'm just going to show with that beak, you're going to place one thumb on one nostril, another finger on the other, half close your nostrils and exhale. Keep that elbow up if you can. Exhale through those half closed nostrils. Inhale, bring the hand down. Constricting the throat as you inhale if you can. Exhale, half closing the nostrils with the other hand. And breathing out. And this is working on lengthening your exhale. Inhale here. I'm going to show with the deer mudra, Maggie Mudra. Inhale, chest to belly. Exhale, belly to chest, or just belly breathing is the foundation. If the breath is hard for you, just the belly breath. This is not feeling comfortable. You can just do throat breathing without the half closed nostrils, seated or lying down. You can, as you exhale, contract from the pelvic floor up towards the belly button. If you have the nostrils too closed, you will not be able to breathe, so don't close them too much. I'm just finishing up. And just remember your intention for the class. Bring that to mind. Something to do with grounding, relaxation. Remembering what you'd like to let go of. I'm letting go of, fill in the blank. Perhaps timing this affirmation with your breath, especially your exhale. I'm letting go of, fill in the blank. And ending with Om Shanti. You can listen or join in. This means peace. The hands can be anywhere. It feels like your center, heart, belly, or just down on your legs. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you very much.